GAP Math students, this is video notes 11 to 13 for basic algebra review. If you don't have your packet, hit pause, go grab your packet, and then turn to this page in the packet. Again, we'll be looking at some stuff that you have for sure done in the past. Maybe you've done well on it, maybe you haven't. But again, this session is focused on not necessarily learning a ton of new stuff, but doing stuff we've learned in the past and doing it better and doing it well. Actually, is less problems than our last section of notes. So what we're looking at is solving one-step equations that involve multiplying and dividing. A little less skipping around than last one, but we will save the word problems for last. So start on this page. We're going to look at number 41 here. Similar as the last section, as when we are solving for x or a variable, whatever it is, you want to do the opposite of what's being done to that variable. So first of all, I'm going to write the problem a little bit differently. When there's a negative in front, you can either keep it in front or you can put it with either one, either the top or the bottom. So I'm going to put it with the bottom because then it's with a number. So the first thing to understand is these two things are exactly the same. Okay, so now we look at x, we want to get that by itself. So it is being divided by a -7. So the opposite of that is multiplying it by a -7. So instead of writing like a x or a multiplication sign, we're going to put parentheses around this. This means -7 times x over -7. Then we're going to multiply this side by a -7. So what happens over here when you have a -7 times x over -7, these -7s cancel out. And that is the purpose of doing it. You are left with the x. Okay. Now on this side, we just multiply. Go ahead and use a calculator, but remember you have a negative here, so you're positive times a negative, your answer will for sure be negative. And 35 times 7 is 245. So our answer is letter D. Okay. As we go through these, if there's any problems, well, one, if I go too fast, rewind and watch it again. If after that you don't understand a problem, maybe put a mark or circle it or whatever, and then ask me a question afterwards. Write me a message, say, I didn't get these numbers in the notes. Can you re-explain or help me out with that? Okay. So that's the first one. Next, we're going to skip this word problem for now. We're going to go to 43. So there's decimals involved, but especially since I say you can use calculators, it ain't going to be a big deal. You'll notice I don't put the zeros in front of a decimal. You can, it doesn't matter. 0.6 is the same as 0.6. Now again, it doesn't matter that the variable's on this side. You just find the variable. It is being multiplied by 0.6. That's what it means when they're right next to each other. It's multiplication. Whenever a variable is right next to a number, that's multiplication. So we want to undo the multiplication by dividing by 0.6. If we divide this side by 0.6, we have to divide this side by 0.6. Okay. The purpose of doing that is these cancel out. You're left with just y on the side. Take 4.2 divided by 0.6. You're going to get 7. And there's your answer, which is letter C. Okay. Top of the next page. Very, very similar problem. I'm just going to rewrite it here first. -2.8x equals -0.2744. Okay. X is being multiplied by -2.8, so we are going to divide by -2.8. Now make sure that the 2.8 is negative. when you do it on both sides. So this negative 2.8 and that negative 2.8 will cancel out. You're left with just x. Okay, here you could either type the negative in both or just know that a negative divided by negative is positive. And then 0.2744 divided by 2.8 is 0.098. And your answer is letter A. Okay. We have two more on this page before we're going to look at word problems, and I'm going to do them. It's going to be 46 and 47. I'm going to actually do 47 first. So this is very similar to the first problem we did in these notes. We have z3 equals z divided by 8.9. So again, z's on this side. It's being divided by 8.9. So we want to multiply by 8.9. And we do the same over here. So you do it to one side, you need to do it to the other side. These 8.9s will cancel out. That's the purpose of doing it, and you're left with just z. You take 8.9 times 3, and you get 26.7. Okay? So again, it just a lot of the solving comes down to doing the opposite of what's being done to the variable. And right now, we're just dealing with one-step problem, so it's just going to be one thing you do. Okay. I think we actually have two more problems before we look at word problems here. Now, 46. There's going to be two ways I'll show you how to do this. The difference in this one is it has a fraction in front. So it's saying negative 3/8 times x equals 2. Okay, so you really are doing the same step. It's x is being multiplied by negative 3/8, so that means you have to divide by negative 3/8. But now this goes back to fractions that many people don't like, but dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, meaning the reciprocal of a number is flipping the fraction. So instead of actually dividing by negative 3/8, we are going to multiply by negative 8/3. So that means we have to do the same thing on this side, multiply by negative 8/3. So all this over here, the reason of doing it is canceling out, and we're left with just x. Okay, over here, we have to take 2 times negative 8/3. Now, just to make the multiplication easier, I'm going to make any whole number can be written as a fraction by just putting it over 1. So just so you can see the multiplication, I'm going to put that over 1. And now you multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. 2 times, well, the negative can either be with the top number or in front. It doesn't matter. Our answer is just going to be negative here. But 2 times 8 is 16. 1 times 3 is 3. And since one of them had a negative, the answer is going to be negative. Okay, there's no simplifying or reducing involved. So there's our answer. If you're just still, even though this is easier than adding and subtraction fractions, if you're still really scared of fractions, we can do it a different way. Going back to here, you're going to take, if you want to change a fraction to a decimal, you divide the top divided by the bottom. So you take your calculator, 3 divided by 8 is 0.375. The negatives in front, so we do that. We still have the x equals 2. So now the steps involved might be easier for you to understand. It's negative 0.375 times x. So the opposite of that is divide by negative 0.375, and you do that on both sides. So we get this side, they cancel out. You're left with just x. Here, positive divided by negative, we're going to have a negative. 2 divided by 0.375, if you type that in your calculator, will give you 5.33333333. So it's negative 5.3 repeating. Okay. Now the only problem if you do it this way is you're not going to see this answer. They're going to write their answers as fractions. Okay. So if you're confident you did this right, you can eliminate some of these right away. This has a whole number and a decimal. These two have no decimals on them, so those two are out. Now you just test the other two. Okay, they're both negative, so that's both still okay. Take your calculator, write 5 divided by 2. This one's going to come out to be negative 2.5, so that's out. Now this should be the right answer, but we double check it. We take 16 divided by 3. It's 5.3 repeating, and it was negative. So that is our answer. Okay, let's do one more of those. And we'll look at a couple word problems. So let's review this one on, I'll turn a little bit to 52. So again, same type of problem. So I'll do it fractions first. So we have a fraction times x, so we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So times a negative 4/9. So times a negative 4/9. So these cancel out. You're left with just x. If you're confused here, you can put this over 1, because that's still 3. Multiply across the top. Well, first of all, it's going to be negative. Positive times negative. Multiply across the top. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 9 is 9. Now the problem here is, if we look, that answer is not over here. The reason why is this is not simplified. We look for numbers that go into both of these. Okay, this isn't even, so 2 doesn't work. 3 goes into both 12 and 9. So to simplify, we divide the top by 3, divide the bottom by 3. 12 divided by, well, we still have this negative here. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And we get our negative 4/3. Okay. So, or the other way you can do it is, I'll even show you in the calculator here. We have 9/4. If we want to rewrite that, take our calculator. And we go 9 divided by 4. It's 2.25. And that was negative. That's a negative over here. Equals 3. Oops, I didn't put the x in here. Negative 2.25x equals 3. So negative 2.25 is being multiplied by x. So we want to do the opposite and divide each side by negative 2.25. This side they cancel out. The other side, we got to do 3 divided by negative 2.25. So 3 divided by 2.25. And I just know that the answer will be negative. So I get 1.3333. And since one of them was negative, the answer is going to be negative 1.3 repeating. So again, the answer is decimal, so we got to go through here. It's first of all, it's a negative. So we know this one's out. Okay. Next, we know there's a number and a decimal, which would mean it would be a number and a fraction or some kind of fraction involved, not a whole number. So that's out. Okay. Then we would test these. Okay. If you type in your calculator 1 divided by 9, it's negative, and that's going to give you 0.1111111. So negative 0.1 repeating. So again, we test this. 4 divided by 3 would give you 1.3 repeating, and it's negative. So that matches up with what we have here. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go back to the first page and look at a few of these word problems. These aren't like word problems, like they're just going to be one step. There's not a ton to figure out. So we'll just go over a few of these. Okay. This one says Brandon owns 3 times as many CDs as Paul. Brandon owns 60 CDs. What is the equation to determine the number of CDs that Paul owns? Some of you might be able to look at this right away and figure it out quick. That's fine. I'm going to, first of all, kind of write something out, and I'm not even going to worry about the variables they use here. I'm just going to say, okay, Brandon, he owns 3 times as many CDs as Paul, meaning Brandon is the same as 3 times whatever Paul has. Okay, that's not going to help us so far, but we're getting there. So Brandon owns 3 times as many as Paul. So Brandon is 3 times as many as Paul. Now it tells us one of them. Brandon owns 60. So I'm going to put that in for what Brandon does. Okay. Now they use different numbers here, or in different orders and things like that, but I have to figure out which one of these would be the same as this. Well, I have 3 times a variable equals 60, or the way I have it is 60 equals 3 times a variable. So if I want to use instead of P, and I can change the order, which one of these would it look like? This is the same thing. I just use a different letter, and it's just on different sides of the equal sign. So your answer is A. Okay. If we go with 42 here, this is very similar to like number 40, except then you'll actually solve. So like meaning here, we'd actually solve this. 3 times what is 60? Oh, that would be 20. Okay, that's what this one is going to be. It's going to be a very similar problem. Okay, so do that one. Again, if you have questions, let me know and I can help you out with that. But I want you to try some of those on your own. Not for credits for the notes, but if you want to get ready for the test, you should try some of those on your own. Next page, we're going to look at 45. This one looks very similar, but it is a little bit different. Okay, so in this one, in both 40 and 42, they give you a sentence and then they tell you what that first person has. Here, they give you this situation and then they tell you what the second person has. So it's a little different. You have to pay attention to that. So we're going to set this up the same way, though. It says Leon owns twice as many video games as Kathleen. So Leon is 2 times whatever Kathleen is. Then it says Kathleen owns 13. So Leon's going to have 2 times that. So in for Kathleen, we're going to put these 13. And then all we do is multiply that. We're not even really solving for a missing variable. We're just figuring out the math. And there it is. Okay. So again, you'll see some other problems like that as you go. We got 2 left here. We're going to turn the page. We're going to look at 48. And then we'll do another one that's like this one, and we'll be done. It says find the equation and answer that show the correct solution to the problem. It says when a number is multiplied by 6, the product is 4. What is the number? So here all the answers have an X, so I'll use an X. You could use any variable, but it says when a number is multiplied by 6. Now, you might be used to saying, okay, a number and then multiplied by 6. But in algebra, we don't write it that way. Okay, we have a number multiplied by 6 means they put the number in front. Then it says the product is, product means answer to a multiplication product or problem. Product is, that's where the equal sign goes, 4. And it says, what is the number? So if you're confident on this alone, you actually really don't have to solve because only one of these 4 choices has the 6x in it. This is 4x, 4x, x plus 6. So this should be the right answer. If you needed to, if they did have 2 choices that had 6x, because they do have 2 that have 4x, if they had 2 that had 6x, then you would solve. X is being multiplied by 6, so you divide. These cancel out. You have equals 4, 6, but that's not reduced. So 2 goes into both. And you have 2/3, which is right there. Okay. Let's do one more like that and we will be done. Next page, 53. So again, find the equation and the answer that show the correct answer to the problem. It says when a number is divided by 9. So again, don't do this. You could, but in algebra, what you're usually going to see is a number divided by 9. The quotient, means its answer to a division problem, is, that's where the equal sign comes in, 5. Okay, again, if you got this set up and you're confident that's right, only one of these answers has that set up right here. And you could be done. Otherwise, if you need to solve it, x is being divided by 9. So you multiply each side by 9. These cancel out, you get x. 5 times 9 is 45, and you have that answer right there. Okay. So that's a review of one-step multiplication and division solving problems. I'll go to the end here and circle which ones we did so you can reference them if you need help on other problems. So we did 41, 46, 52, 43, 44, 47. We did 40, 45, 48, and 53. So again, these will help you if you're doing another problem in that section and you're not getting the right answer. You can look at one of the circled ones we did, see if it helps. If not, write me a message. Let me know you have a question. I can either go on a call with you right then or do a separate video or whatever it is that we need to do. Okay, so send me, copy those notes, send me a picture of them to get the points. And then when you're ready, or after that, try some other problems, see if you're getting them correct, ask any questions, and then ask for the test.